All right, perfect. This is recording. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome. This is Benjamin on the Rising Phoenix podcast, a 6-2 perspective on the human design system, on the world, with some good universal knowledge. So I'm very glad to welcome you for this second edition on the quarter on the Mandala Wheel. Tom and I did an amazing presentation, and I want to say amazing because it was amazing, last year for the quarter of mutation, a purpose that is fulfilled through transformation. And if I remember well, it started around November, something like that. So that was our first edition, talking about each quarter. So I remind you, a quarter is 3 months in the Mandala Wheel, and we have 4 quarters, 4 different quarters. So last year I had this idea. I was like, oh, what about, opening the room, opening the Rising Phoenix, opening, those webinars for just general public and whoever is interested of paying attention, of like truly paying attention on what's going on with the program. So they can join us and they can, listen to us keynoting, going around the wheel, and being given the opportunity to have a voice and to share their understanding of the program, to share their view and their perspective as well. So we can all together, contribute to the totality as a human being, as a human species. So that was my intention when I started last year, and this is our second edition, and we're going to go through the quarter of initiation, a purpose that is fulfilled through the mind. That is going to be a very, very interesting session for today, should I say. Yeah, there's really a lot of things that can be said. And before I start, if it's okay, I'm just going to take a little moment in silence to reset and to let this beautiful channel that we have here right now with our transits, the 6124, this channel of awareness, a design of a thinker, just simply, letting my body seeking in these transits, letting my body being receptive, letting my body taking in the information of this giant ocean of neutrinos. It is really something that I start slowly doing in the morning. And I remember, I believe it was last transit in the HUB27, when we have our weekly Sunday, casual Sunday, one of our members was asking, Ben, I would like to hear more about your routine, to hear more about what you are doing on a day-to-day. And that's what I've been experiencing more in the morning after waking up, drinking my water, hot water, lemon, and celery juice, being very silent and sitting in kind of a meditative state, presence state, and simply drinking my celery, my hot water, lemon, having a tea ceremony a little bit later in the morning, and simply, allowing this presence of feeling the transit of the day, feeling the program, feeling those forces that are moving me, the forces of the program, the forces of the neutrinos, the forces of the goddess. That's what we're going to talk about today as well. The first part of this quarter of initiation is rooted into the goddess of Kali, the destruction. But it's a theme of death and rebirth. It is really the spirit that is coming back on earth to be reincarnated into the meat. That's what the quarter of initiation is all about. So we're going to talk about that. It's a very mystical process after all. So I've been sitting in the morning and just taking a moment to feel the transit, to surrender to the plan, of the universe, and not me waking up with my little mind, little ego, trying to be a manifester and go on what I think my day should be, you know, so having an agenda. I mean, you heard Tom and myself repeating over and over again that it's not about what we think. It's not about us having an agenda. We have Bjorn that have been brilliantly expressing, sharing with us his view, understanding, breaking down of the entire hexagram, the mandala, the words, all of that. The divinity of the program. That's really what I like when we do those, for the second time, looking at the mandala, looking at the quarter, is really taking a look at the beauty, the divine organization, should I say, that is behind, you know, this genetic matrix, right? It's such a divine organization. So, all right. I guess to have a good understanding, and let me put the mandala wheel. To have a good understanding of this quarter, and I'm going to divine the wheel so you guys can have a look. For those of you who are present with us, you know, you have a little bit of advantage because you have the video, you can see, you can witness with us. For those of you who are listening the recording, unfortunately you can't. But if you go on YouTube, I will post, you know, the recording on YouTube so you can have a look on the video. But anyway, here it is. No, here, sorry. There we go. Here and here and here and here. So we divide the mandala wheel in 4. Before we start with this quarter that we are entering, the first day, this is the gate 13, first line. So we are really in the first day of the quarter. Before we start with this quarter of initiation, I want to take your attention on, you know, again, the new year, the rave new year, the hexagram 41st, you know, that was here to put a pressure, a massive pressure for the spirit to be reborn. You know, out of the quarter of mutation, the transformation, it was this pressure, this start codon in the genetic sequence of the human being to be reborn, to have the experience of being alive, to have the experience to share, to universalize the experience of what it means to be a human being, incarnate into the meat. And we're going to talk about the 5th line and how the 5th line is deeply, deeply, deeply conditioning all of us. The deep line in the 5th line in the structure of the hexagram is really here to put a pressure to what universalize, to put this out there. When we take a look at the structure of the hexagram thing that we do in Rev ABC, we can see that the 6th line is separated from the code, deeply separated from the entire hexagram. So in some way, when we look at every single one hexagram, we want to see the foundation with the 1st line, but then we want to look at the 5th line because that's the 5th line who will do the universalization of the hexagram itself. The 6th line is not interested at all. The 6th line just want to live it. That's it. But the 5th line does the universalization. So when we want to understand what it means to be a human being, when we want to understand this trip of us, this journey of us being here, it starts with initiation. It starts with the quarter of initiation and what is the 5th line of the 13th hexagram, so we can have a deep understanding of the nature of human being, of the nature of the human being, of the nature of this experience that we are all in. What is the name of the fifth line? The savor. Oh boy. That gives us a tremendous information of what's going on with the human species today, right? The ability to overcome all obstacles for the betterment of humanity. The charismatic genius who can find a role for everyone. Can you see the science of differentiation here? The charismatic genius who can find a role for everyone. We haven't been genetically designed to be like one another. The homogenization that we are all living in. No. To find a role for everyone. The listener that has a gift for finding a role for others. That is giving us such a deep, profound understanding of what it means to be here, to be incarnate with the mind. This is a purpose that is fulfilled through the mind. What is the mind? The conceptualization, the ideas, the opinions, the differentiation in our ideas and opinion on how life should be, on what kind of experience do we want to have here. The unique individuality of you being yourself. And it all starts with the Hexagram 41st, the new year, the rave new year, the possibility that is giving to us out of the root center, the pressure. Going towards the gate 30. And if we take a look here, this is the first 4 gates of this quarter. The gate 30 is here, part of Kali. This is the face of the goddess Kali, the destruction, the rebirth of what? Look at the 55, the spirit. Here we have the spirit that is seeking the right, perfect body to come back, to be incarnate into. We have the spirit that is seeking the wealth, what is the name of the 55? Abundance. The spirit seeking the right principles, so we can go into the feeling, the clicking fire, freedom recognized as a limitation, the name of the 30. To grow, we came back here to grow, to experience abundance in our spirit, to be able to listen, the gate 13. Who do you listen to? First principle. This is a deep, deep memory cells. Deep memory cell. To remember our past experience, our past incarnation. Did we mutate? Did we transform in the quarter of transformation? Did we get the work done so we can be fueled with the gate 41 to go into the experience of being human? This week is really about expecting a lot of destruction. The incarnation cross of the 13 is the left angle cross of the mask. Can we let go the mask? Can we be ourselves? Can we be different? Can we be initiate? The quarter of initiation is the quarter where the channel of initiation is. See? To return to the innocence, the shock, the spiritual warrior who will shock us to return to the innocence. Of what? Direction. We are all navigating here. It is about navigation. This passenger consciousness returning, the witness, the mystical theme is the witness return into the womb. This is profound. And the more I pay attention to the will, the more my mind gets quiet and quiet and quieter. He loves the game. He loves paying attention. I give him something to chew on. And he loves that. Observing, taking his right place as a witness, as a passenger, sitting in this body. Being in the exalted state of not knowing, I don't know. Let's see what comes. Let's see to what I respond. Let's see where those forces are taking me. I mean, yesterday I had one of the massive breakthrough ever. I will share. I posted in Facebook. I will post in the HUB27 so you guys can read it. It's fantastic. The breakthrough from the past, to destroy everything, to let go, to move forward the new, to listen. Who am I listening to? Last things for this opening salvo, like Tom will say it. And then we can open the floor. But one more little things that I would like to share with you for you to really understand what this initiation is. What is this quarter of initiation? You know? If we take a look at the genetic components, we have two codons in our genetics that represent the beginning of this quarter of initiation. Two codons, the glutamine and the histidine codon. At the base of those codons, we can see that it is deeply, deeply yang, deeply yang and yin. And we can see that it shares the same couple. And we can also have a look at the beauty. We can also have a look that during the next 16 hexagram, so the first 16 hexagram, the first 1, 2, 3, 4 faces, the goddess that represent the quarter of initiation, share the first same couple, a yang yin base foundation of the hexagram. This is truly what initiation means. When we take a look at the genetic sequence and we are initiated to return in the world of the form, we can deeply see that it was our maker intention to genetically create us in a way that is building by itself in the genetic sequence, that is giving us the time to get to maturation, to get to growth, to get to a deep understanding of who we are, to go through those phases. You see what initiation really is all about. And how funny that in secret society, we use the term initiation. In shamanism, we use the term initiation. In all those rituals, we talk about being initiated. An apprentice is initiated. I guess this is it for me, for now. To opening this quarter of initiation, for you to look at it, for you to understand. There's so much more to say, and we're going to come back to that in a moment, and we will continue. I would love to welcome back Tom, and to give you a voice. Thank you for being here, Tom. Thank you. I really appreciate every time you support me doing those classes, those whatever we want to call it, right? But it's very nice, and I guess that's it. And if you guys at any time you have some questions, you can please write them down in the chat, and I will have a look. And then a little bit later, we can have an open conversation. And I would love to hear also from you. Tom, please, welcome back here.
Benjamin, what a place to be welcomed to, my brother.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you got me smiling from my mouth to my soul. Okay.
Thank you.
You know, there's talking about things, and we can talk. That's what we do a lot of, okay? And then you also know we run out of words at some point and ask other people to speak, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there's the business of talking about things, and that's the way it's always been, the old way, okay? It's what's going away. When Ben mentions the business of destruction, that's what he's referring to. The old way of telling people what to do and having people listen to something outside of themselves to determine what to do, that's what's going away. That's what's being destroyed. Ben is not only talking about it, but he's a role model. There's this incredible pressure to live by the talk, to walk the talk. Well, how did he start out this morning? He started out this morning talking about, I'm getting quiet, I'm getting still, I'm recognizing that if I'm ever to hear anything worth hearing, I have to have a quiet mind. So that was his first mode of operation. First gate of the quarter, 13th hexagram, the gate of listening, the fellowship of man. Who and what are we listening to? The first line is called empathy. The universal ideas and values in an ordered framework that inspire humanistic cooperation. How many times have we talked about this? It isn't going. I've waited 29 years for someone like Benjamin to show up. I've been in design for 29 years, and I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting for somebody to show up that I could actually cooperate with rather than compete with. And that's what's going on here. First gate, listening. The ability to relate and commune with everyone with equanimity. There's no one up, there's no one down here. We're all in the same boat trying to get to the same place. The way we're going to get there is paddling in the same direction at the same rate of speed. It's about cooperation. It's not about competition. It's about love as a motivation. It's not about fear as a motivation. Here we have one of the gates of the Sphinx. One of the two crosses that forms the G center. The G center is all about love and direction. What is the vessel of love? The gate of and going to healing. And the Sphinx, it's all about listening. Who are you listening to? Look where the moon's at right now. 55th hexagram, fifth line, growth. Are we growing towards the ability to be a family of man? 13th hexagram, the fellowship of man and woman. I want to go back. I'm going to take you on a little journey here. Give Ben a lot to respond to. If you go to the wheel, Ben, it'd be wonderful for people to see the wheel. Thank you so much for all your cooperative help. I can't believe how fortunate I am to have met this flying Frenchman. Okay, let's start at the gate 10. That's Ben's son, by the way. It just happens to be where his son at. It's all about the gate of behavior. What's the basic animal behavior? Our origin was animal, our destiny is not. What is basic animal behavior? Survival, protection of territory. Okay, fine. That's a good place to start. It's not where we end up. We end up in a completely different place because our origin was animal, our destiny is not. So we go from the 10th hexagram of what is our behavior, and we go to the 58, the joy of life. I'm going through the second half of mutation in order to prime us to see what our mission here is in the quarter of initiation. It started with what is your behavior? So if we want the joy of life, we have to know what our behavior is. What is our behavior? Something to ponder. We always talk about how you must do the inner work. Okay, so then we come to the 38th hexagram after the 58. Is my behavior looking for purpose? Am I looking for real purpose? The mirror gate is the gate of spirit. Am I finding the spirit in my purpose? Get the joke here, folks. I'm going to give you the punchline, but then we'll go back through this wheel. I want you to take this step by step with me. What is alive in us is not this body. This is the vehicle in which what is alive is occupying. It's the spirit. Mm-hmm. The provocation, the gate of provocation, the 39th hexagram. I have it. I love provoking people. And what are we looking for? We're looking for the spirit, right? The 38, the gate of the fighter. The mirror gate to the 39. What is it looking for? Purpose. Purpose. Do I have a purposeful life? So let's look back at the wheel. Then when we're looking for purpose, we come up on the 54th gate, the most mystical of all gates, the 54 line, the 54-4. But what is it? This is ambition. Ambition towards what? Ambition towards continuity. How are we going to find continuity? Get off the battlefield, quit being the second most dangerous thing to one of us, to find another form of success. Ben so beautifully refers to the 44-26 as a channel of mutual success. This is not a competition. This is a cooperation. The very first line of the gate of listening, the ability to relate and commune with everyone with equanimity. Some of us are in the position of teaching. Some of us are in the position of learning. One day I'm the teacher, the next day I'm the student. The good teacher always learns from his students. And if he can't learn anything from his students, he's not a very good teacher. So, the 54, what is your real ambition? Where are you trying to go? All right, and then we come from the 54 to the 61. Maybe it's an inside job, folks. Maybe we need to go to the inner truth. Maybe it's not about going to the outside. Maybe it's not about the guru, the priest, the politician, the general. Maybe it's not all that fifth line stuff. They talk about it, but do they live it? So this is the pressure of being a role model. You have to live it. This is why behavior is where all this starts. This is why in the center of the quarter of mutation, we have the gate of behavior. What is your behavior? Are you aware of what your behavior is? Or are you just responding to the popularity contest? Are you still running around in a costume with a mask on? Something to ponder, folks. I mean, that's why we come together here. If we were satisfied with how everything is, we wouldn't be looking for a better way. But what it is to be human is to want to be something more tomorrow than what you are today. What it is to be animal is to be completely content so long as you're not currently being attacked. You can have some form of pleasure and you can reproduce yourself. As a human being, have you ever been totally happy just based upon those three things? I rather doubt it. There's always something more, isn't there? That's when a sphere is recognized as being inhabited with human beings. When some of the upright bipeds look up at the sky and go, there's got to be something more. Ah, humanity has arrived on the planet. Let's go back to the wheel. So we're in the inner truth now. What was Ben's talking about? I need to be quiet and still and get off the agenda so I can pay attention to the inspiration that's coming in, the 61st hexagram, the inner truth. What do? The 24, returning. We return to the inner truth to get the, aha, I've got it. There's the breakthrough in the capacity to explain the breakthrough. When we have the new inspiration coming in, what do we come to recognize? The old files. In the channel of mutation, we have the old files in the 60th hexagram. We have the new files in the 3rd hexagram. What the 60 is looking for is the new file. The reason we come up on limitation at the end of the quarter is so that we don't go around the wheel in a circle. It's a spiral, folks. It's supposed to be a moving circle. Just like our genetics, it's a spiral. It's not a circle. It's a spring. It's a spiral. Okay? So we come up on our limitations. We go, well, we're not going to repeat what we've already done. We must look for something more than that. We've accepted the limitations. First line of the 60th hexagram, acceptance. I've accepted the limitations, so I'm going to do what? What comes after the 60? The start codon. I'm going to start something else. I want to have a different experience. I've been there, done that. The 35th hexagram says, okay? I've been there, done that. What's next? 41st hexagram brings us the what's next. But what comes after the 41, the 19? What do I want to approach? Is it just about survival in the material world as an animal? Or is it more than that? Well, if you're human, I guarantee you it's more than that. So then we start our quarter of initiation. This is an incredible thing to look at. When you get, what are you listening to in the 13th gate? The first gate of the Sphinx. That's what's trying to give us direction. Look at the next 6 hexagrams. They're all in the solar plexus, every single one of them. How do you feel at the end of the day, folks? That's why you're going to initiate something, so that at the end of that process, you've got a different road to be on, one that will make you feel better than you felt before. Remember, we're going towards emotional awareness. It's a motor right now, but it's going to become an awareness. The 19 and the 49 will no longer function as a channel. The 63 and the 4 will no longer function as a channel. We won't be looking outside of ourselves for answers. We'll be looking inside of ourselves. Where do you expect to find the inner truth? Going to Varanasi, India, and talking to Swami Tukkaraji? He doesn't know the inner truth unless he's paying attention to the inner truth. If you're listening to how you feel, I mean, it's really, really quite profound to see. You have one gate out of the first 8 gates, actually 2 gates out of the first 8 gates that are not in the solar plexus. So you can see what we're trying to initiate is feeling like human beings. Instead of living in fear and trying to survive, we want to love one another, cooperate with one another, get where we're going. It is called the fellowship of man and woman. Ben, go ahead. I'll take up later. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, just I love that. And I was just responding on what you say, you know, is when we look at the first 4 gates of this quarter, 3 of them are in the center of the solar plexus. And the first one that starts the quarter is the gate 13, the gate of the listener. It's really about listening our feelings. Listening, how do we feel? How do we want to feel? And after the fellowship of man, there's this gate 49, which is the revolution. If our principles are not heard, if they don't listen, our principles, those who claim to be the fellowship of man, remember what I said, the 5th hexagram will is deeply conditioning the entire human experience. What is the name of the 5th line in the 13th hexagram? The saver. That's why today we have government. That's why people give their power away, expecting institution, government, all of that to save them. That's why there's this huge triangle, you know, between the saver, the victimization, the persecutor, and it's just going back and forth in this triangle. Everyone does that on a small level to the highest level, on a relationship with a boyfriend, partner, girlfriend, marriage, relation with son and daughters and friends, to a company, to a boss, to whatever the case is. There is this relation of please save me. But it is time to to break through, to stop that. And look at where we go next, the sixth line, that is the optimist. Let me clean that. The optimist, the ability to accept any limited interaction as a necessary step towards greater union. The hope that openness will lead to better relationship. The energy to persevere. That's what the sixth line is all about when we look at the entire incarnation of the human experience. I am optimist. I don't want to follow those people. What kind of leader I want to be? Am I listening to the people? Am I listening around me? Am I listening to myself? Am I listening to my own feelings? This is really the deep conditioning, beginning. And if you look at the name, glutamine, glue, 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 it's stick, it's stick, it's glue. It glue with what? The gate 30, the clicking fire. What kind of feeling do you want to glue? I mean, it's hilarious. It really is here. You know, when I started to look at the wheel, it really made me feel so small, you know, so small in this universe. And the vanity of human beings, the arrogance that we know, I mean, it's quite ridiculous, you know. We think we're smart because today we have spaceship that can take us to the moon, and we have those people building, I don't know what kind of technology and blah, 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 you know, advanced stuff. But we're still killing one another like idiots, you know. I mean, yeah, fascinating, Tom, isn't it? I love looking at that. So that's the big, go ahead. Beginning of initiation. What else can we say? We have those first 4 gates, listening to the revolution, the principle that bring us to a feeling with the gate 30, right? The clinking fire. And then we have the gate 55. For me, understanding the face of the goddess Kali, which is really the destruction and the rebirth, the spirit that is incarnate and coming back. I mean, if we take the book on the human design, and let me read it to you here, you know, quarter of initiation, the theme, the purpose fulfilled through the minds, the mystical theme, the witness returns. In the first quarter, the witness, so the personality crystal, returns to Earth. Once again, bringing the renewal to the evolution of consciousness on the mental plane. This is a deep, deep mental experience for us here to experience through the mind, through the thinking, education, conceptualizing, you know, explaining and sharing what it means to be alive in the form, you know. And then it says here, notice that all but one of the 7 gates of the solar plexus center, the center of relation, intelligence, and emerging spirit awareness, are clustered in the quarter of initiation. We are initiate to go towards an emotional intelligence. I mean, this is fantastic. And when I look at that, and when I hear myself talking, sharing this information, you know what? My mind is like, wait a second. Does it mean that we're just going to give up on everything that we think we wanted to have and we're not going to chase anymore about all of that and, you know, blah, blah, blah? And my mind doesn't like that because he knows he's not in control anymore, that my spirit just want to chill the fuck out and sit in this vehicle and to see what's up, to be playful. But, you know, it's scary. I mean...
You know what we get for thinking we're in control? We get to be the only species that pays to live on this planet.
Yeah.
That's something to ponder. No, we don't give up having what we need, but we know the difference between having what we need and being content and having the thinking we need more than we need to cause a process of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
If you have $1 billion and the only thing you can think about is your next billion, that's poverty.
Mm-hmm.
That's scarcity. When a person is content, a rich person knows what they have is enough. And it isn't all material. I waited 29 years to have someone to be able to do this with. Ben and I cooperate. I didn't want to be involved with any of the other stuff because I didn't know how to cooperate. They were all concerned about their market share of human design. So what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rod told me, he said, you know, look, in 2020, things are going to take a huge shift. And boy, have they taken a huge shift. I mean, the shit has hit the fan. Everybody's talked about it for so long. When this shit hits the fan, well, it's hitting the fan right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but let's get back.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the shit hitting the fan, I don't know if you guys remember, and that's when we started our podcast. Tom, do you remember in 2020?
Yes.
It was right on the Hexagram 36 when COVID was, released or like hit the fan. It was in the quarter of initiation. The Hexagram 36, which is the gate of crisis. That's when COVID started. Right in the quarter of initiation, we were initiated to something new. We were really initiated. That was the gate 36, the gate of crisis.
And what do we know a crisis to be? An opportunity. It goes to what? The 35, progress. What's an emergency other than an opportunity to emerge and see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to stay with what is, keep the story alive, it'll eat you alive. That which is not interested in what's coming, they're going away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. We're all going to go away at some point. Let me turn this damn thing off. Yeah, the damn phones.
Oh, you busy man. See, look at you, busy man.
Yeah. Okay,
You're becoming popular, huh?
Yeah, let's return to the wheel for a moment because we've only begun the story here. We had to start at behavior because that's what we need to pay attention to. If you look at the 20 and the 10, what's it called? The channel of being awake, awakening, right? I know my behavior or not. If you know your behavior, you're awake. If you're unaware of your behavior because you're too busy trying to win a popularity contest to even pay attention to what your behavior is and your mind's screaming at you all day long, what did Ben say? I start my day just being quiet so that I might actually hear something worth hearing. It's a good start, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I love about Benjamin, we don't just talk about this. He lives it. And he's willing to be seen living it. Get the mask off, folks. The only way you'll be in a relationship is if you get the costume and the mask off. Get the mask off, throw the costume down, stand there naked in front of the person you think you love. And if they still love you, maybe they do. Okay? Got to get the mask off. Let's go back to the wheel. Mm-hmm. We talked about the first 3 gates. Look at what comes next. If you're actually paying attention to the principles, if you're actually paying attention to how you feel, if you're actually looking for the spirit, you get family as it was intended to be, the 37th hexagram. The word family has become a 4-letter word for most people that are in one. It was never meant to be a 4-letter word. It's a curse, it's a prison for most people because nobody's paying attention to their behavior. They're doing what they were told by somebody in Boston. Maybe you want to listen to a higher voice than some kid in Boston. Maybe you want to get in touch with source. We're looking for the spirit, right? We're fighting for purpose, right? Maybe a guy in Boston doesn't know that. Maybe a guy in Paris doesn't know that. Maybe we need to seek a higher authority. What's the first gate? Principles. Are the principles high enough for me to operate by? Can I abide by those principles? Do I really want to send my children to another battlefield so we can win another war, supposedly win? Mm-hmm. There's nothing to win on a battlefield, folks. All right, so we get back to the idea of family. Where is that? Solar plexus. All right, now we have the 63rd gate, the cross of consciousness. Are we aware of what family is supposed to feel like? Are we aware of where the spirit resides? Are we aware of our own feelings? Are we aware of our principles? Are we having a quiet enough mind to be able to hear anything? I just went back through the gate, back to the basics. Go to the basics, okay? And then what happens after that? 22nd gate, grace or not, You know, the 20 is contemplation. So I said 2021 is about who's in control or not. What do you think 2022 is? Who's graceful or not? Who's grateful or not? Think about that. Think about that. Where do we go from there? From the 22, we go to the 36 hexagram. We really have to do the inner work, don't we? I can't pretend anymore. I really have to pay attention to the crisis that's all around me. The world I live in is in crisis. I am in crisis. Maybe there's an opportunity for progress here. We're going into a 6-line theme in 2027. What's the projected attitude of the 6-line being? Ben just showed it to you. The optimist, not the savior, the optimist. Why is he optimistic? Because he's going to save himself. If you go to the 6-line, the 14 tracks of the 6-line we were talking about, where Ra was talking about what it is to be a savior and that nobody's going to listen to that anymore, the heretic and all that stuff. He said, damn it, save yourself. Such a hell of a lot of work. Save yourself. That was coming from the 5th line, who was exhausted by the savior trip. Nobody can save you if you're not receptive to it. I'm over my savior complex. You can believe that, folks. Where do we go after that? To the 25th hexagram. Return to the innocence of the self. There's only one hexagram that says anything about what it is to be a healthy human being. It's the 5th line of the 25th hexagram. It says to recognize the inner meaning of an affliction and to withdraw until it is healed. There's no mention of a doctor. There's no mention of medicine. There's no mention of any of that. Get back to the innocence of yourself and you'll be healthy. Now that's a big piece of work, but that's how it goes because you're taking responsibility. You're self-responsible now. You're not saying, oh, I'm broke. You go to a doctor and say, okay, medical deity, MD, fix me. No. The shaman doesn't do that. The shaman recognizes that if you're receptive to the spirit, he brings the spirit in and the spirit is what needs to be healed. All problems start spiritually, then they become psychological, then they become emotional. Where the hell would you expect it to manifest? And manifest in the physical. So if you want to get to the core, if you want to get to the source of what went wrong, you got to go to the spirit. That's why you talk to a shaman instead of a doctor. That's why you become your own shaman instead of even needing a doctor. All right, so the 25th hexagram. Then we go to what? The 17, the gate of, what is that? Opinions. Whose opinions are you listening to? Somebody else's? Is that a real service to you? Remember, this is across a service. Maybe you should form some of your own opinions. I used to tell people, if you had an opinion, it would die of loneliness.
And
yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead. If I can just add quickly something, and then you can continue. But what is interesting is that when we look at the quote of initiation, it's a purpose that is fulfilled through minds, okay? And how funny that the gate 17 is the only one gate out of the Ajna center that is present in this quarter, right?
Oh. So well done, Ben. So can you form your own opinions or do you have to operate on the opinions of someone else? It's an inside job, folks. You want inspiration, you go to the inner truth. Swami Tukagaraji in Varanasi, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He thinks he knows. Sleeping with all his devotees in the meantime. It's okay. All right, the 21st hexagram. Who's in charge here? Who's supposed to be in charge? You're supposed to be in charge by listening to yourself, by following your own strategy and authority, by living your design, not talking about it. Living your design. But I'm so impressed. Ben's 33 years, 34 years old, something like that. I'm 69. He's right there with me. He's right there with me. I am so impressed with these people that are being born into the world this day. They will not have 60 years of conditioning to deal with. They will have far less of it. They're going to be far more receptive. If you watch variables, you're going to see that variables are becoming receptive. I'm a quadrite. There's going to be a lot of quadrites in the world. It doesn't mean strategic is bad. It served its purpose. Thank you very much. Thank you for your service. You can relax now. If you're receptive to what's coming, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the future. We're not talking about the past. There's nothing in the past. There's stuff to step in. Usually doesn't smell that good. It's the future. It's where we're going. That's what the G center is all about. What's the direction? Vessel of love. Love is a direction. Could we quit killing one another? Could we quit acting like animals? Protecting territory. You know, we can't feed ourselves. We can't educate ourselves. But the moment somebody irritates us, we can launch millions of $1-million missiles. And they call that intelligence. All right. So when we hit the 21, who's in charge or not? What comes next? The shock. Holy shit! I gave everybody else my authority. Maybe I should reclaim that. Maybe I should think about making my own decisions. What is human design? The capacity for you to make a decision correctly as yourself. Therefore, you can live your life as yourself. And when you look in the mirror, it doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. When you look in the mirror, the person that's looking back at you is grinning. That's a fucked up day today, but I wish there were more people awake and aware like you that could help out. Now you know you're in charge. Now you're over the shock. What is the shock going to lead you to? Back to innocence. The 51, the shock is designed to take you back to the innocence. Mm-hmm. The shock is an ego gate, says, I'm leaving here. I'm out of here. It's the gallbladder. It's the gallbladder. Somebody says to Ben, if I said to you, Ben, damn it, Ben, you've got a lot of gall. I would hope you would say, thank you. Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because you're trying to get back to the innocence. We're trying to decondition ourselves. We're trying to get back to what our maker had in mind instead of what somebody else told us. You got something, Ben?
Yeah, and you know what's funny is my 51 gate is in 6th line, Jupiter, and the name of it is separation. So, you know, at the moment that something doesn't really work for me, I'm like, wow, fuck all of this. And I separate completely, and I have this to initiate myself, to something new, to the return of innocence. So yeah.
You got a lot of damn gall to separate yourself. Excuse me, separate from the call, unless it's a good call, is what a 6-2 is. Yeah, congratulations, Ben. You demonstrate as well as you talk.
And I can see it can be very, very scary. When we look at, again, to this quarter of initiation, it really is, for me personally, my understanding of this quarter, and that's the next 3 months that we're going to have, for me, really is in some way an energy of being alone in this world, because nobody else can initiate you to being you and being correct for yourself. People can show you the way, like we had a Jedi Masters, we had a wizard, we had witches and magician and all of those people who were here to initiate apprentice and disciple and all of that. But ultimately, at the end, they never ever took the path for us. When I was initiated with Manesh, the shaman, and the way of the magician, the way of the wizard, and all of that, they showed me the path. And they were like, now, it's your choice. You take it or you leave it, but that's your choice. Only you can walk the path. So for me, when I look at this entire quarter of initiation, it starts with the gate 13. That's today. We're going to have 3 months of being challenged in some way, of discerning who do you listen to. Remember what I say, we're going back to this 5th line that Tom has been so beautifully say over and over and over again. Where is it? Sorry, it's here, 5th line. The 5th line is the savor. Where is it? Here. The savor. We so all deeply conditioned by that. And Ra said it. He was over it. We had actually with Ra a healthy 5-1 who wasn't playing the role or let me save everyone. He was like, fuck this, serve yourself. I'm here to universalize whatever is this knowledge and, living this incarnation, the cross of the clarion. So he was, putting the knowledge out there. What is my cross? I'm the cross of prevention. What am I doing here? I'm preventing you. I mean, I'm doing that. Prevention, be careful, you know? So for me, my understanding when I look at this quarter and what is going to happen for us the next 3 months, and I'm pretty excited, is that I've been given the possibility, the opportunity to save myself, to stand in this world alone as myself, correct for myself, to not being afraid anymore of losing people, of losing the so-called losing. My mind thinks he's losing something, but actually it's just, this is not correct for me. And that's fine. And that's the next hexagram after I continue. After the 51, we're going into the 42. What is the 42? The 42 is completion. Like, can I go to the end of something? That's what really the 42 is all about. Let me click on it. Increase, the gate of growth. It is really completing something. It is knowing that whatever I'm entering in, I will have the sacral energy to go to the end. It's basically beginning, middle, and an end. If we can see the end of this, we don't want to go there. So that's really the 42. And then it's taking us to what? The third gate, difficulty at the beginnings, the new file. The new file to nourish ourselves, and 24 to return. And then we complete this quarter of initiation, those 3 months that are here for us for the next 3 months.
Beautifully said, Ben.
Yeah. And I would love to invite anyone, maybe before to say anything. Sherry, Gri, Matthias, Nina, Bjorn. If you guys have anything to say, is that okay for you, Tom? Do you have anything else you would like to say, Tom, before we give a voice to people?
I never have anything to say, but I'll think of something.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's hear some other voices. Okay. We've got more, but let's hear some other voices.
Yeah. Whew. Anyone would like to jump on it and keynote and share their understanding as well, or anyone have any questions, personal life or any personal questions that we can answer? I mean, I love doing that. So please, it's your time.
Can you hear me? Okay, I don't know what I really have to say. I'm just so fascinated by my experience that, it's the things that are opening up to me, the people I have shed that naturally fallen away via me living my truth. And the doors that are opening. I threw a baby shower for my daughter. Okay. So my inspiration was love. And there's just so much that goes into this. But so I received an email from the president of this forward thinking coffee wine cafe where I had the event. And wants to, he happened to be in that cafe that day. He sent me a personal email telling me that he was so impressed, and I was just throwing a baby shower for my daughter, and that if there's anything that he can do, to assist me and to please keep them in mind in the future, just being myself, not going out and pounding the sidewalk or, just doing me. And so I don't know what it'll lead to, obviously. It feels really good. To organized. And another really a lot of interesting things, but I've been in a relationship with a reflector for 4 years, and just short story, total hell, right? Like I was traumatized, got really sick. And so I have been observing myself. Anyway, I found myself sitting in a little safe house in a lovely neighborhood, completely supported financially by the universe. Like, how does this happen? And just by following, you know, my strategy and authority, and need time to rebalance and be me, do me. But and have been at so many times where I'm being quiet and listening, and I'm like, okay, I know this is the end. I'll never communicate with this individual again. And then it changes, and it's opening up, but it is changing into something. He just moved like 200 miles away and is basically buying up all the real estate in this dead community full of drug addicts and bringing it to life. And so taking everything really that he learned from me about taking care of the body and he's implementing it there. And so helping people, and our relationship is completely based on now respect and friendship. And it's just also fascinating to me how just being the passenger and getting to watch this movie. I know before, but I'm still in it, and getting ready for the arrival of my first granddaughter.
Nice.
So I'm taking an Ayurvedic postpartum care course. So I'll be, you know, taking care of my daughter and coming.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. Thank you for sharing a little bit part of your journey. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Anyone else feel sharing mostly about the transit for today, and like the quarter, and what is this quarter is for you, and because otherwise if we start talking too much about our own life story, we go so far. But anything else, mostly on this quarter, and anything that you would like to share. Matthias, again, I really would love to invite you if you feel talking, because I know you're very knowledgeable as well. And so please feel free. No one?
I think Bjorn has his hand up.
Bjorn, yeah, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you, guys. I even dropped my Kung Fu Tzu lesson today to be a part of my new family. I really, this wonder of being alive after I became a member of this community is just marvelous. I want to say it, just show this profound appreciation of what's going on. You know, Ben, for 18 months, I have done what you talked about this morning. Just to sit down without any noise and just ponder the transit and the program. Yesterday, as usual, I looked at the transit and this spirit came into my mind. And since then, I have been buried in this spirit. I have wrote a letter the 2 last days. I am going to finish it tomorrow and post it on the hub. It's all about what is this spirit? It's so much. One thing, what kind of mechanics in the wheel, what we can wait for the next weeks. Look at this, the 3 solar plexus gate. They are all about the potential of the root pressure on the right side in this stream of sensitivity, emoting and feeling. the pearls in a row are saying, this is what we are going to come waiting for. The potential of an manifestation in summertime is just so marvelous to see. Also, one thing, you started to talk about something about genetics today, a little bit. You know, this glutamine, and look at histidine, histology. What is histology? It's everything, tissues, structure, element of the animal body. It's just interesting to see. I also, because this is maybe the only arena on this planet that I can share these discoveries. For many years, I have studied genetics and biochemistry. I have been deep into these fields, and I have studied them my own way after becoming obsessed by human design. And I just looked at quite on a molecular level what this histidine is about, and proline in the next 4 quarters. They are, if we look at them just in a microscope, how they are organized in space, they are pentagrams. They are the only structure inside us that creates a 5-pointing structure. It's just, to share it with something, because I know this is in the next phase, but when we come to the realization of it in summertime, everything is based on the sixness. But here we have this 5ness. I had a deep intuition of the importance of this. I want to show you one picture on the computer. It's a satellite photo. Is it visible for you?
No, we can't see it.
Can you see the star?
No.
If I take away the light, can you see it at the moment? Wait. Now,
I think it's because you.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, now then I will post the picture. I will post the picture later. But just again, I feel this deep appreciation of being part of this tribe, and life feels just marvelous.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Bjorn.
Very important that Ben and Bjorn have spoken of histidine. We have published on the hub the mutation of the solar plexus, and histidine is where it is. That's where the mutation is going to take place. That's why the 19 and the 49 will no longer be a channel. The 49 is histidine, so is the 55, histidine. This is where the mutation in the solar plexus arrives in 2027 to bring us not emotional motor people, but emotionally aware people. And the difference between the motor people and the aware people is the motor people have to ride the wave to become aware. The people that come with awareness, they will not have a charge. They will not be violent and explosive. They will simply go, I can get into that. Oh no, I can't get into that. That's it. Decision made, nothing to think about. It's over, it's done. If it's worthy of correct principles and moving toward the spirit, the emotional well person will say, yeah, that's good. Let's go there. See what I'm saying? It's relatively simple. I keep telling you, this is not something we have to do. We're human beings. We're not human doings. This is not something we have to do. This is something that is arriving. This is coming. All we have to do is be receptive to it, which is why there's going to be so much rightness rather than leftness. We're not demonizing leftness any more than we would demonize manifestors. I'm working with a quad right manifestor right now and saying, what is it that you're going to initiate? And she's coming up with some incredible answers, okay? Because it's in her. So this is not about good, bad. It's about whether it is or is not. Fear was what was. It served its purpose. It's over. We will not be motivated in that regard. So there will not be a big charge against it. We'll just go, I can do that. Yeah, let's go. Or I can't do that. No, I'm not interested. Plain and simple. So histidine's where it's at. You can listen to the mutation of the solar plexus and get a lot of information about what is biologically going to happen to human beings that gives them emotional awareness. So histidine, I'm glad you brought it up, Ben, and I'm glad you reiterated it, Bjorn, because I wanted to say something about it.
Yeah.
Okay, guesses if they're there.
Yeah, that's something that I thought was very interesting and important to mention, especially for the beginning of this quarter. But anyway, thank you, Tom. I feel pretty good and complete. We have transit on Sunday, so we will talk a little bit more on the current transits. We can continue to go in more depth with the quarter of initiation Sunday if you guys want. Matthias, you feel you're more listener, no problem, absolutely. I really appreciate that you're here. For all of you who are listening, by the way, on the podcast on iTunes and speak German and or in Germany, we have Matthias here that is German, so you can reach out to him if you want to have more class and things, in German. I think that's it. What else? I think this is, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling complete for today. It was a good look at this quarter of initiation. This will mark the spring, the end of winter and the beginning of spring. To remind you, the mandala wheel is divided in 4 quarters in 8 equal parts. The initiation is the beginning, the returns of the personality crystal, the spirit seeking for the perfect body, for the perfect life, and this is what we are here. We are here to change, to mutate. Out of the mutation, we mute, and we're not here to be saved anymore by anyone except ourselves. And Gree ask a question. Yeah, let's take the last question and then we're good for today. Gree asked, I would love to hear more about the 55. The 55 is right now in the transit as well. So maybe, we can talk a little bit about that. It's in the moon. It's in 5th line, I believe. Growth. Oh yeah. Oh, it went into the 6th line. So it's okay. Why my computer is slow? Oh no, there you go. Selfishness. The 55 is a very interesting gate. I do not have the 55. I do not have a solar plexus. So let me give you a little understanding of what I've been experiencing with. And then I will pass on to Tom because he has the 55 and he has a solar plexus. So Tom, is that okay for you? Okay. When you look at the 55, abundance. When we read the line of the 55, it says, abundance is strictly a question of spirit. It really is this metaphor of looking at a glass of water half empty or half full. That's what it is. Abundance in your life is strictly a question of spirit. And this is an emotional fear of emptiness. This is the emotional fear that life will be empty, that you will live a life without any passion. That's why, out of this channel, the channel of emoting, it's a profound desire rooted in the roots, fueled by the root, by the gate 39, obstruction, the gate of provocation. It is all about the provocation of the spirit so we can live a life that is full of passion. And if you look at the base of the 55, You know, the first line says cooperation. It is about cooperating with one another so we can reach abundance. But ultimately, again, if we want to get the ultimate state, we look at the sixth line. What is the sixth line? Selfishness. And I always say, you know, abundance starts with you taking care of yourself, being selfish. The selfishness. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, the possibility of finding the spirit through materialism, the line says, acquisition, obsession, the thought alienation is still indirectly beneficial materially to others. In other words, you know, if I do what's correct for me, it will be correct for the other. Because as long as I'm not self, as long as I'm a fucked up, not self 6-2 generator, I won't do anything good for anyone else around me, you know? But at the moment I'm selfish and taking care of myself and I see my spirit and I honor my spirit, abundance can take place. That's my understanding of it.
Ben, can I add to that?
Absolutely, it's for you.
Because this selfishness thing, what are we trying to be? We're trying to be our true selves.
Mm-hmm.
Be selfish. Be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want to moralize everything. It's good or bad. No, it's not about whether it's good or bad. It's about whether it is or is not. Okay? If you're being yourself, the first thing you have to be is selfish. Now, that doesn't mean being stingy. It means you have to be yourself. Okay? Now, when I was listening to Sherry, I spoke with Sherry maybe 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, something like that. Okay? The difference that I'm experiencing, I just listened to her story, but the difference I'm experiencing in watching Sherry, it's not that it was bad in the beginning, it wasn't. It was just a lot of stuff going on. I see her smiling a lot more. So I see a result happening in a person. That's when I get paid. You want to pay me, pay attention. If you're paying attention, you're going to get a result. If you get a result, come on, you give me money, I give it to somebody else. I don't get to keep that. But the satisfaction of being able to assist someone, people have asked me, can I guide them? I said, yeah, I can help you get your hands on your inner guidance system. I'm not your guide, but I can point you in the direction of being your own guide. You see what I'm saying? That's the selfishness they're referring to. They're not talking about being stingy. If you look at the detriment, and they're not talking about not having either. If you look at the detriment, it says where the material abundance exists, but no one gets to share it. Well, look at the world. We don't have a problem with resources. We have a gross distribution of those resources based upon a fucked up value system. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The principles. Why is the 19 and the 49 breaking? Going to be different principles, folks. Different principles. It's not about taking someone's money. It's about giving them something of value. And they will return something of value to you. Money just makes whatever's happening happen faster. There's just as much evil in not having money as there is in having more. Look at the 55th hexagram, 8-ounce glass, 4 ounces of water. What is that to you? Half empty or half full? That's the question here. If you see 4 ounces of water you can drink, you're a rich person. If you see 8 ounces of air, 4 ounces of air you can't drink, you're living in poverty consciousness. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's a decision that you make mentally based upon seeing what is, as opposed to what you're told is supposed to be. Well, we're all supposed to be winners. We're supposed to be the best. You're supposed to be yourself. Whatever that is.
Tom, this is really good, actually. Like this last thing, I want to add something on that. Is that okay? Yeah. And agree, you know, thank you so much for asking, because look, again, if we wow, this is awesome. If we look at here what we have, this is the beginning of the quarter of initiation, right? And we begin with the goddess Kali, and the last gate of this phase of the goddess Kali is the 55. Kali is about destruction. So we could say in some way, we are initiated to destroy or to continue to have, you know, but we are initiated to destroy the poverty consciousness so we can go into the growth, so we can go into the abundance. And that's the quarter of initiation. We are all initiated to destroy the old, to listen to the principle that makes us feel so we can have abundance. The quarter of initiation is here to initiate us. That's one aspect. That's also another way of saying that. I mean, how amazing. Or we just keep repeating the same story. We listen to the gurus and to the government. We continue to bend our knees and to, offer our ass so we can be deeply fucked by governments and everyone, right? So we feel like shit and slaves, and we are, living in a poverty consciousness where our spirit is desperately, like dying. I mean, 8 billion of people, how many really live with purpose here? Everyone is dying. So Kali is becoming more and more and more present, and I will expect next year, 2023, 2024, 2025, 26, until 27, that is going to be way more accentuated. Every beginning of each year, getting closer to 2027, we're going to have Kali that, maybe like, oopla, oopla, little human beings, time for some destruction, Well,
destruction doesn't have to be necessarily destructive. It's
exactly.
simply we don't abide by it anymore. If you don't pay attention to it, it won't continue. So once again, what are you paying attention to? First gate in the initiation. Who are you listening to? What are you listening to? Okay. If you still think you have to have a gold-plated 747 and that you're going to be fine in that gold-plated 47, when it hits the ground, it's going to kill you just like any other plane. Okay. You get what I'm saying? What's going away, what needs to be destroyed is a corrupt value system. That's all. When we change what we value, we change where we're going.
Exactly. I mean, look at I don't know, Tom, if you can see Gree, she's like nodding with the head, when you talk about
yes, I can see.
When you talk about the value system, and she just said in the chat, and Gree, again, thank you so much for sharing, because that's what is really lighting me up. That's what I want as a contribution, is when you guys speak about your own challenges, your own problems, because it gives us something to respond, and you light me up. I mean, this is my purpose. This is my cross, incarnation of prevention. And you just say that your sun is in gate 55, so your earth is in the 49. So your personality in the gate 55 is where you shine, is where you bring, your life force energy into the world. That is your discernment of being able to recognize, wait a second, does this fulfill my spirit? Does this nourish my spirit? And then the way you ground your gift into the world is with the 49. And the 49 is all about principles, so it's all about recognizing that our value system is so fucked up. And that's what you were expressing last week during the transits. I don't really like my job, or I don't really like this or that. And so the entire value that is around nourishing your spirit, it's like, well, this is fucked up. And that's how we can make progress. That's how we can initiate ourselves. And again, this is so good. I'm on fire now. What is the first gate of the quarter of initiation? The gate 13. What is the Incarnation cross, the left angle cross of the mask? If we can let go the mask and show up with authenticity, I'm fucked up. I am deeply. I'm doing my best every day, but I'm fucked up. So if we can show up and say, this is the challenge that I have, I'm fucked, then we can, remove the mask, and we can start our deconditioning process, and we can go back to the spirit. We can go back to what really passions us. Beautiful, incredible. Tom, anything? I'm done. Oh, thank you, Greg. That was so good.
I don't know that we're ever done, but we're certainly in the process.
I know.
Okay? We may not know where we're going, but we know we're on our way. Now that's progress, because you can't steer a parked car. If you can't move from where you're at, you can't get anywhere else. If you're happy where you're at, fine, stay there. Plant yourself in the ground and become a plant or a tree.
Yeah.
But if you want movement as a human being, you got to be willing to let go of certain things to make room for new things. Okay? That's the beauty of it. Once you go through the shock, you come to the 42, cycle complete. And what happens when you say that cycle is complete? New files, third hexagram's next. Okay, and then all of a sudden you got this capacity to explain those new files. Where do we go? 27. Oh, we're nurtured. Sherry was saying, you know, she's changed her point of view and she's feeling better in the day. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. If you made $1 million and you look in the mirror and you feel like shit, enjoy your $1 million, okay? You're just preventing it from doing anything good for other people. That's all you're doing. There's plenty for everyone. Let go of greed and be happy with the 4 ounces and say, thank you for 4 ounces of water. Okay? And you'll see that things will start to work for you. If you're being correct in yourself, you're attracting the people and the things that are correct for you. If you're being incorrect in yourself, you're attracting the things and the people that are just going to fuck you up more. So, you know, one quick thing. Thanks, Matthias, for coming back. We're really happy to see you here. Matthias is bringing a lot of things onto the web that are really beautiful, beautiful things. So, you know, pay attention to what Matthias is doing. He's not real confident speaking in English, but he is an incredible human being. A lot of people in Europe don't think they can speak English. They speak it better than we do half the damn time. But at any rate, pay attention to what Matthias is doing. He's bringing really beautiful stuff to the hub. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to bring the beauty and share the beauty. We're not trying to hoard anything. We're not trying to be in control of anything. You're safe here. We're not like what has been. We're like what's coming. And look at the damn faces. Look at the faces. That's all I ever have to do is look at the faces. Okay.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah. Gree, was it good? Was it good for you? Yeah. Oh gosh, you guys are so beautiful. I really wish I can come visit all of you. I may swing by Texas very soon. I need to go to Austin, and I can swing maybe to Dallas and come visit you, Sherry. Yeah. And you know.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm on the cross of migration. I know about moving cars. You got to keep them moving. Okay. And if you're not moving, I mean, what's a sign of life? Warmth and movement. Okay. That's when you're alive. If I touch you and you're not moving and you're cold, I say, well, left the body. Still alive, but not in a body anymore. Okay. This whole idea of we die. I got news for you, folks. You're not going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to transform. And we're in that process right here, right now. And that's why it feels so good. We're bringing Eden back to earth. You know, all these people born on the cross of Eden, what the hell do you think they're doing? You know, all these people born on the cross of the plane, that's the right angle, the left angle of the same cross of Eden. Man, it's such a horrible experience here on the plane. We need to change that. We're living in a program. And it's a beautiful program. If we're paying attention to the program, we're living in harmony with the universe. The universe has got your back, it's got your top, it's got your bottom, it's got your sides. It'll take care of you. Being correct in yourself is not a struggle. Deconditioning is a struggle. Being correct in yourself is not. So there you have it, boys and girls. Shame we couldn't find
last things. I just have last insight, and then we stop because I'm getting hungry and I want to go get some food. But last insight. So you know, yesterday I was so this webinar was you know, on a ticket sales for people who are not member of the hub. But yesterday I realized no ticket were sold at all. No one buy any ticket, nothing. And I was like, you know, fuck this. At the end, what I really want is to be paid with attention. You know, I actually rather prefer having people showing up and not charging anything. And, you know, it's a gift. And you know, so I really spare you the entire process that I went through, but I wrote something huge and I will post in the hub so you guys can see how related it was with this beginning of initiation and how receptive I was with like those neutrinos penetrating me. The quarter of initiation has the channel of initiation. And as I say, for me, my feeling of this quarter is really about being alone in this world. You know, we're initiating something new, and every time that there's something new that is birthing, it usually meets a lot of resistance, and we're usually alone before it is accepted by the masses, right? So I don't know why I wanted to say that. Yeah, living ourselves as ourselves and birthing this new consciousness, birthing this new way of living. It's an individual process. I mean, the 2551, it may be tribal, but it's individual, you know, individual. So all of us on a very individual level, we are contributing to birth the new consciousness. We are doing that on an individual level, and it can feel very, very lonely. It can feel very lonely. It can feel that we are very alone, that nobody gives a fuck. You know, everyone keeps doing the same shit. And we're just standing here alone with our principles. I mean, what is Kali? We're here listening to ourselves, saying no to the homogenization, standing for principles because we are determined to feel a different way because we're sick and tired of the scarcity and we want to live in an abundance world. That's Kali. So yesterday, my breakthrough was like, fuck this. I'm just going to put the webinar for free and whoever wants to join, they just join. I'm sick and tired of fighting for the survival and the money. Pay me with attention. If you can pay me with attention, I'm happy. I'm going to stand for those new principles today. And that's what I want to do more. I want to do more free donation when it comes about webinars, music, breathwork, and stuff like that. I keep minimum fees for the big work, but for the rest, I want to give it for free donation. I want to birth something new, a new way of living and trusting that the universe brings abundance to me. And I don't need to live in scarcity. I don't need to be afraid, oh, no one show up, or how can I make money? I need to charge, I need to blah, blah, blah. I need to, fuck this. I'm tired of that.
Give them what they want, they'll keep coming. And, you know, the 6-2 thing, Ben, you know, the aloneness is separate from the call unless it's a good call. But if it's a good call, I mean, who answers robocalls? Nobody wants to answer robocalls. But if it's someone that's got something beautiful to say and has the ears to hear something beautiful that's been said, that's a call worth answering. And that's the process we're going through. We're going through all these calls, all these things we've been called to. Most of them aren't worthy of the call. But this is, and it isn't about living with nothing. You'll see what you can give, you can receive. What you hoard, you can't enjoy. So it's a different way. It's an approach to prosperity by loving one another, as opposed to competing with one another. It's not about losers and winners. It's about everybody was intended to win, and it's entirely possible that that happens. I've lived on both sides of the coins. I never noticed that one made me happier than the other. One gave me more choices. Now, if you're making good choices, that's great. If you're making bad choices, you're on your way to hell on a pair of roller skates that are jet propelled. You're just going to get there quicker. That's all. But if you are a part of a mission that's worthy of being a part of, what could be of more value than a tank full of gas in a vehicle that runs? Nobody's asking you to be impoverished. No one's asking you to live without. They're asking you to be careful where you store your treasures. That's all.
Ah, what an amazing time. All
Lunchtime.
right. Lunchtime, right. Thank you to all of you. Really appreciate that you show up. That was really cool. I see you for the next quarter in 3 months. Enjoy this entire quarter. For those of you who are, you know, in the hub, I will see you every week on the Sunday. Let's see to what I respond. So far, we have a music again next week, but it is mostly for people who are the members of the hub who are, you know, in Bali and Australia. Because they always miss when we do transit and when we do events. So for those of you who are in Europe, you guys, it would be nighttime, so you won't be able to join this music sound journey. But next time, don't worry, I will do more. And for those of you who are in the US, that will be evening and afternoon for you, so you guys can join it. So far, that's what we have for next week. Yeah, and I will come up with more events. I would love to do a spiritual entrepreneur. To give everyone a voice and to give you the possibility of sharing what is your gift, what is your job, what are you doing, you know, and like networking. So that's something that is coming soon. And yeah, then you will see more surprised. Tom, thank you so much. All of you, Matthias, thank you. Jen, Sherry, you know, Gray, Bjorn, Petra, Nina, all of you, thank you. Thank you for showing up. And see you Sunday for the members. Lot of love. Bye, everyone.
We'll meet again.
Yeah, bye.
Bye now.